Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm guilty because you cannot go for lunch. So thank you for your attention, and thank you to Spela and the foundation for inviting me to share what it's supposed to be a center of excellence. But I think that there's no single description on what a center of excellence looks like. But I would like to present one hospital that has been mentioned this morning, which is here in Barcelona, Barcelona Children's Hospital. For those who doesn't know, this is a maternity children's hospital affiliated to the university. It's a private non-profit institution that's quite strange in the healthcare ecosystem. But we are part of the public system. Even the parents sometimes they don't know that we are a private institution. That's what moves us every single day, and it's the purpose. So the purpose is to care and cure when it's possible, but always care to those more vulnerable, which are kids with diseases, particularly rare diseases, in a humanistic way, in order to create a fair society. That's what we truly believe every single day of our lives, and that's what we try to achieve with the programs that I will show you. I don't need to explain what you are facing as patients and families living with a kid with a rare disease, so I will skip this one because you already know, but I will explain what we decided to do in front of the challenges that you face every day. So we can accept what we cannot change, or we can try to change what we cannot accept. And that's what we did. And all the hospital, all the institution has been transformed in the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years in order to do that. And it has been a tremendous effort and a tremendous change in the organization. So we call it UNICAS. UNICAS, it's our strategy. UNICAS means in Spain, uniques, because we believe that rare diseases are unique but not invisible. That's also our claim. And what we try to do is try to address, and I will say try because no single institution can address these challenges. And networking, you see in the top of the pyramid, it's essential to move forward in the times that you need, as you mentioned before, that families and kids cannot wait. So this is the approach that we have done, trying to address part of these challenges. I will try to explain that very briefly. The first one is how we care. No? We mentioned this humanistic way, and we truly believe that it's possible to have a good experience for the patients, even though in the worst moments of their lives, for kids and the families. No? When we say patient in our institution, it's the kid and the family, it's everything in the same bubble. So here we have the 5-piece project, which is parents, painless play, places, and personalizations. This is what we try to do every day. Parents everywhere, all the time, 24 hours open. This is a picture of the NICU, but this is a picture of the OR. So parents go inside to the OR to induce the anesthesia with the patients. So when the patients sleep, the last person he sees is his mother. And when the patient wakes up, the first person he sees is his mother. And I can tell you that I have been mother into this OR, and this is the experience that you feel, and it's truly amazing. To avoid the pain, we do monitor the pain in all the rooms every 30 minutes for our patients, but we also have other strategies. Thank you. To avoid the pain, such as not only anesthetics and drugs, which is useful, of course, but we can have other options to reduce the need of drugs as well, to reduce pain and anxiety. So we have 12 docs working in the hospital. They are working in the hospital in order to help also these kids to manage the stressful situations and reduce the need of anesthesia. Of course, play. Spela had the opportunity to be there yesterday. It's a colorful hospital, so we try the kids to be kids when they are there. Even the places, this is the MRI, so just like they feel that they are in a rocket. So we try to do everything as good as possible for them, or places so they can play all the time and run away and be kids. That's what we like. And then personalization, which is these professionals. Here, the nursing staff plays a huge role to care about these kids and the families every day. So that it's the humanistic part of the hospital, but then it turns into organization as well. So we know that families usually visit around 5 or 10 different specialists, depending on the rare disease. So here what we did is to transform the hospital. We are not talking about departments, no neurology department, no cardiology department, no gastroenterology department. We talk about integrated units. So we talk about the diseases and the specialists around the disease. So it's not working in parallel, it's working in an integrated way. And we have already created the 60 functional units. And we are working also on the one-day care. The one-day care means that you come to the hospital one day and all the specialists are around the patient. It's not the patient coming to the hospital every day, because we have patients from all Spain, but also from foreign countries, and it's really hard for the families to come and visit us so frequently. Another request from your side, it's always to have someone in the other side of the telephone. So this is this picture, someone in the other side of the telephone. So we have a new role of professionals, which they are nurses, very skilled nurses and trained particularly to do this role, which are the case managers and are the main contact for the families. And also for those families that request or that are living with patients with very complex diseases or even in palliative care, we have a specific center for these families to leave their kids there and have some rest, because families need to have some rest and time for the other siblings. So we also try to help on that. Then in terms of more scientific stuff, we know the troubles of having right and timely diagnose. This is something that most of the families live. Unfortunately, still 50% of these diseases have no diagnosis. So we are trying to pull together all the platforms that can speed up these processes. So not only biobanks, but organoids and brain slices platforms for neurological disorders. Also integrating all the omics program in order to speed up the time. It's like an obsession to speed up the time of the diagnosis, but also some collaborative approaches, such the one that is presented today, which is the hackathon that we did this year to diagnose patients from South America and Spain. 140 professionals, 24 hours, 12 cases without diagnosis, and we've been able to diagnose 6 out of 12. So this is the example of the success of this collaboration. When we were together, data scientists, genetics, clinicians, and families, I think that the example today, it's a good example to show what we can do working together. And of course, other platforms for preclinical, the clinical trials unit, which I have the honor to lead in the hospital, where we are running at this moment 250 clinical trials in pediatrics, so that's quite a lot. And of course, other platforms or treatments that can be useful for patients. And advanced therapies, it's also part of this pyramid, because we truly believe that for these diseases, advanced therapies, it's what's gonna make the change. So we are integrating a program to, again, speed up the process to develop advanced therapies. We have the preclinical setting, we have the manufacturing to produce cells in the hospital, and we have the capacity then to administer in a very early phase, compassionate use, phase 1 trials. We don't care the way, because what we want to do is to treat the patients in a safely way. So this is the integration that we are working. This it's just for you to know, if you haven't visited a GMP manufacturing platform. Is a very sophisticated place, but we can offer also that to our patients integrated in the hospital. We can internally produce CAR T cells and also work in collaboration with external partners for gene therapy. For in vivo gene therapy, which is much complex to do in a hospital setting. And so far, this is the experience we have. We've done 37 clinical trials in advanced therapies, a lot of phase 1 trials. In some cases, the only site in the world with non-Spanish patients at all. So we are very used to have international patients. All of them are more than welcome in our hospital. We have the support of translators. We can find the support to find a place to live for the families whilst they are in the hospital. So really happy to have all of you and all the families. We don't care where the families came from. We just make it happen. That's what we want. That's what we want to do. Another important work that we are doing is to facilitate the families to stay at home, because the best hospital is the patient's home. This is the best hospital. So what we have is 330 patients hospitalized at home. The hospital has 370 beds. Just for you to have the idea that we have 370 beds in the hospital, but more than 300 patients at home. So we have the systems to safely monitor all these patients, more than 45 professionals that goes to patients' home, a lot of cars as well, so to move around and to be sure that we are able to monitor in a safely way these patients from the hospital. And we also have a telemonitoring center to monitorize these patients in a minute setting, so we know all the time what's happening with these patients. No, this is our command center where we do control everything, what happens in the hospital walls, but what happens out of the hospital walls. And that facilitates the families to stay at home. And also we are able, gathering all this data, to use artificial intelligence and to anticipate complications from patients that are telemonitored. For example, we are following patients that have pacemakers and that they are at the school. So we are able even to anticipate a complication for this kid, even he's in the school and he's doing fine, because our algorithms suspect that something can potentially happen with this kid. And we are also doing that in the NICU and also in the ICU to anticipate the risk of sepsis of patients that we have in the ICU. So the power of data, it's amazing when you really exploit it in a meaningful way. And these are the results. I mean, for the patients that we are monitoring remotely with chronic diseases, we have been able to reduce 80% of hospitalizations. That's huge. That has a huge impact, and that's what we use to convince also our governments to say that they need also to put money to do that, because the impact for the health system, of course for the families, this is the most important one, but also for the health system, if we are able to reduce the number of hospitalizations and visits to emergency room, that has a huge impact also in public resources. Data, as I mentioned before, connect data, connect people, connect researchers, connect families, connect everyone in a meaningful way to have impact. That's what we want with the data use, and we have a data department specifically in the hospital that it's devoted to exploit data in all these sense, just as you see, to care, to track patients, to connect families, for entertainment as well, but also to anticipate risks of patients by using algorithms. We have tons of data of patients in the electronic medical health records that can be used to speed up, for example, the secondary use in research, and which is particularly relevant also for rare diseases. Yeah, that's what I mentioned before. And then the last part of the pyramid, which to us it's the most important one, which we cannot do that by our own. So we need all the community, and this is the picture that illustrates the collaboration that we have with FEDER. FEDER, for those that are not in Spain, it's not the umbrella organization for the rare diseases organizations here in our country, where we sign an agreement to set up a network of hospitals in Spain, because as I said, we cannot do anything by our own, to work together, particularly in pediatric rare diseases. And this program has been, let's say that we convinced our national government to put 45 million to set up this network of hospitals. To do what exactly? So basically, to share data, and to avoid the patients to travel and let the data travel. So what we want, because every patient cannot have in the region a hospital with a specialist, that's very difficult. And what we want to avoid is the patients moving around in the country. Most of the times, even they have to move all the family close to the hospital. So what we pretend with this network of hospitals, it's to have this layer of data that can transfer the knowledge between one hospital and another hospital. So the patient stays, and the data, it's that we transfer. So specialists can connect from one side to another, but the patient can stay in the community hospital. And then, of course, we have seen this morning very nice presentations on the scientific part. So we need the basic research. Hospitals, we don't do a lot of basic research, of course, because we don't have capacity to develop knowledge for all these diseases. But what we can do from the hospitals is to network with those who knows how to do basic research. So what we are doing in our institution with all this UNICAS project, and today it's also a good example, it's to connect the basic research with the clinical part and with the families. And again, this is a great example on what we can achieve if basics and clinicians and families work together. So that's our obsession. And last but not least, if next year or whenever you come back to do this meeting here in Barcelona, we're more than happy to invite you to this beautiful place that we are nearly to open next year, which is a precision medicine institution. It's close to the hospital, just devoted to neurological rare diseases that we can also build thanks to a huge donation of Amancio Ortega. I suppose that you know who is Amancio Ortega. So thanks to this implication of the civil society, we are also able to do these extraordinary things for you. So I think that's all from my side, and I'm more than happy to take any question. Thank you.
That just really takes my breath away. I mean, this is a conversation that all of us rare disease orgs have all day long. Like, why doesn't this exist? Why don't our doctors talk to each other? Why don't the networks connect? Why aren't we thinking about the end goal and like taking care of the entire system? Like you said, it's the whole family, right? I can't believe you have that beautiful compound, and I hope you inspire so many other places to follow your lead. Really impressive. I almost don't believe it. I'm gonna go Google this later because that sounds too good to be true.
Visit there.
Congratulations, and thank you for making families feel
and
safe.
Thank you